Hello friends, we are back. We're gonna ignore last week. We're gonna act like nobody noticed that a video didn't go up. Okay, so today we are doing a book unhaul. Okay, I had to restart this video because I kept saying haul like I got more books in, which I have, but that's not what today's video is. Today's video is about me getting rid of books. Okay, so it's a book unhaul. A book, they're leaving the collection. Okay, now I will say I was hoping that this unhaul would be bigger, because I normally do, if you're new around here, I normally do like 2 big unhauls a year. I do one at like the beginning of the year, freshly after Christmas, and then one in the middle of the year. Okay, but this one's not as big as I was hoping. It's relatively decent. I don't even know how many there are. I'll probably put it in the title after I count them all, so the title should hopefully tell you. But right now, filming this, I don't actually know how many are here, but it's not as big as I was hoping it would be. But also, I was also expecting to have gotten through all of my middle grade books by now. That has not happened. Okay. Because the goal is to read all the middle grade books I have and then unhaul them all, except for a few that I would like to keep, because I'm not going to be purchasing middle grades anymore. I will still get them from the library, but like I don't really have space to keep them. So that's why I was hoping that there would have been more in this book unhaul. See, I keep doing it, but that's why I was hoping to get rid of more. But May came along and I started reading Louis L'Amour, and that's like the only thing that exists in my life right now. So anyways, let's take a look at what is going away. So first up is a duology by Stina Licht. This is Cold Iron book 1 and then Blackthorn book 2. I bought these about 7 years ago, and these were actually in a video that I put out earlier this year about how, like, this is, if they're not read within a certain amount of time, they're gonna go. I attempted to read the first book in this, and honestly, I made it about, I think, like 100 pages into it, and I was just kind of bored. I really was. And like, look at these chonkers. Look at these. Like, I was honestly just bored. I wasn't really caring for the characters and the setup and everything. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just let it go. No harm, no foul. Then we have 5 books that are all from the same series, and I read the series this year, and that would be the Wingfeather series. So we've got the Wingfeather Tales. Book 4, this is The Warden and the Wolf King. Book 4, that one, the first one I showed you was like a short story collection. This is book 1, On the Edge of the Dark Sea of Darkness. Book 2, Norther Be Eaten. And then book 3, The Monster in the Hollows. I am getting rid of this series. I thought I was going to love this series, but ultimately I hated it. I ultimately just did not like this. A lot of it really does have to deal with the author's religious beliefs being very, very heavily present in this, and just certain things that just I don't agree with on how he was presenting them, and it kind of just overall ruined the series for me. So at least I read the whole thing, you know. I gave the whole thing a shot. I kept giving it chance after chance after chance, but unfortunately it did not work for me. Then I have made the decision, so this was another series that was on the chopping block from that same video that I did earlier this year, and I have made the decision that I really don't want to try and fight through this after I read the first book, and that would be this series by Gordon R. Dickson. I just realized the first book is not in this pile, and I think it's somewhere else around here, but I do have the first book, but it's The George and the Dragon, and we have The Dragon and the Djinn, The Dragon Knight, The Dragon, the Earl, and the Troll, The Dragon and the Lioness, The Dragon and the Gnarly King, The Dragon at War, and The Dragon and the Fair Maid of Kent. This is also one of my most hated covers in my entire collection. I think this is hideous, okay? But ultimately, when I read the first book last year, I gave it 1 star. I gave the first book in this series 1 star. Like I said, the first book is around here somewhere. I don't know why it got separated from everything, but it did apparently. But I didn't like it, and I had told myself, well, maybe it's just like first book syndrome, but also it was just like the way he wrote his female characters was terrible. The way he wrote his male character was terrible. I didn't find what was supposed to be the comedy relief to be funny. It was more just like, oh, like it's definitely a product of its time, and it's definitely in that time era where, you know, a lot of men were just really just kind of wrote their fantasies out. You know, and I don't really want to deal with that much, you know. I don't. So I'm just gonna go ahead and let the whole set go. I might honestly put the whole set up on Pango, because like it's a decent set that I have, because I very much am particular about my mass markets, but we'll see. Then we have Mage Against the Machine by Sean Barger. So I got guys, this was another that was on my, if I don't read it this year, it's got to go kind of thing. I made it 2 chapters into this because, you guys, these chapters are 80 pages long. 80 pages. And with reading 2 chapters, that's like 160 pages. If my math is right. I'm not good at math. Don't hold that against me if it's wrong. Okay, but almost nothing was set up within those first 2 chapters. You had me read, if my math is correct, 160 pages, and you've set up nothing. I'm not doing that. Not only that, like, I'm not reading 80-page chapters at a time. That is exhausting, okay? I just wasn't digging it, and I didn't like the fact that I had read so much and nothing was like coming to fruition from it. And I was just like, no, we're done. We're done. I see why nobody talks about it. Next we have Museum of Thieves by Leanne Tanner. This is a middle grade book that I read last year. I actually really enjoyed it. It's like one of those, it follows like some orphans who become like a little mystery team kind of thing set up, but it's set up in a way to where they are trying to stop the adults of this world from being horrible, terrible people. Like literally, you know, like they're willing to like sacrifice children for things, and like it's really good. It's a trilogy. I do want to read the other 2 books, but again, this isn't something I'm gonna like reread, but it is something that I enjoyed and I want to continue the series, but I'm gonna do it through the library. Then we have My Diary at the Edge of the World by Jodi Lynn Anderson. I read this one earlier this year. I read it back during the middle grade march that was going on, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. It's definitely, it takes everything that we consider to be mythical and it makes it real. So like, you know, Sasquatch, he exists, the Yetis exist, unicorns exist, dragons exist, and it's considered normal and ordinary for this girl in the world she lives, and they're trying to find the extraordinary world, which is our world, the boring and the mundane, because they're trying to escape something that is happening to them. And I found it very, very, very good. It does talk about death, and it does have that topic about like accepting death, and I think that's very vital for a lot of kids to read. So definitely a really good book, but not something I'm going to read a second time. Then we have Memories of Blood and Shadow by Erin S. Jones. This is a fantasy, an adult fantasy that I read 2, maybe 3 years ago, and it's supposed to be it's a standalone. There's, from what I understand, nothing else is going to be happening in it. It was good. It was fine. I think overall I give it like 3 stars. There was a couple of weird like moments towards like the end of it and everything that was kind of happening that kind of like put me off a little bit, but overall like it's fine. It's just kind of like your standard sword and sorcery kind of thing. Then we have The Night Garden by Polly Horvath. I have actually learned that I really like Polly's books. I've read quite a few from her so far, and this one, it deals with some kids who are going through some very interesting things. Like there's like a little mystery involved. It's got a little bit of a spooky edge to it, but one kid is hiding things from the rest of his siblings, and they're all trying to figure out why and what. So definitely just your good kind of like simple little spooky middle grade book. Then we have A Wolf Called Wonder by Roseanne Perry. So I honestly thought I was going to fall in love with this book, and instead I found this to be the most exhausting thing to read, and something where afterwards I was like, I can't really see a child enjoying this. I understand that this story is based off of a real wolf and its journey that it went through, and there's even like stuff at the end of the book that kind of like talks about the real life wolf and like the things that it went through, and how like the story like came to fruition because of that. But the thing is like, it is a very, very depressing story because nothing good seems to happen to this wolf, and so it's just bad after bad after bad after bad after bad after. And I'm just like, this is aimed at kids. Like, what are, like, I understand teaching the kids the importance of like empathy and teaching them that sometimes bad things happen and everything, but like this just got to a point where I was like, I can't see a kid enjoying this. And there probably are kids out there who do enjoy it, and that's great, but I don't see like a vast majority of them enjoying it. So it was just kind of like, and like it honestly kind of understands like why my daughter never finished it, because this was originally hers, because I originally bought it for her, and she never finished it, and she wouldn't like really tell me why, and I think I kind of understand. So yeah. Then we have The Witch's Heart by Genevieve Gornick. I actually just finished this one last month, and I was actually extremely disappointed with it, which is really kind of sad. But I just kind of overall found this to be the most boring and mundane story based off of Norse mythology that could ever be like written. I'm all for bringing mothers into fantasy stories. Like, I want that too, but I don't want to have to go through her birthing kids and having trouble with that, and pining after a husband who's not around. Like, that's not the kind of moms in a story I wanted. Like, I wanted moms to be out there kicking butt like the dads are. And then the second half of the story, when it starts focusing on like all the events leading up to Ragnarok, it just felt super rushed, and I was just like, oh, okay. So ultimately I was super disappointed in this, and so obviously I'm not going to keep it on my shelves. I'm gonna pass that on to somebody else. Then we have the Karma and Grit duology. This is book 2, which is The Crooked Castle, and this one is book 1, which is The Wing Snatchers. It's just a simple middle grade mystery series about this duo that goes around solving mysteries involving like fairies and all that other stuff, but it's in like a steampunk setting and stuff. You know, pretty simple, kind of cute. The second book kind of feels like she didn't really have an idea of like what to do, so she just kind of was like, I guess we'll do this, like, you know. So yeah. Then we have Beast and Beauty, Dangerous Tales by Soma and Chainani. This is it's a collection of retellings of fairy tales that have a darker twist to them. I found it very enjoyable. I did like the art. Overall, though, it's not something that I'm gonna like dive back into at any point. It's like, I enjoy fairy tales, but honestly, I don't tend to like read. Like, I love the idea of fairy tales, but I don't really read a lot of fairy tales, if that makes sense. So then we have The Ghost of Goswater by Lucy Strange. This one is actually, so like, I really enjoyed this one. It takes place of a little girl who inherits a house, but her uncle is also around, and uncle is trying to like seize it out from underneath her kind of situation, and the whole entire like area where it's at is haunted, and there's like this ghost around the area that's trying to help her. But what I find so interesting about this book is that this is actually the UK title, and I managed to buy it here in the US in a bookstore, but it's actually called something different here in the US, and I honestly cannot remember at this point in time. But yeah, I always found that quite interesting that the US and the UK have different titles. I'm used to them having different covers and everything, and maybe like a slight title tweak, but that one has like a completely different title here in the US, and I just find it quite interesting. So that'll be like a fun little find for somebody, you know. Then we have The List of Unspeakable Fears by J. Casper Karmer. I read this one earlier this year, and it was fine. It was good. It wasn't anything like blow your mind away or anything, and it mainly deals with this little girl who's learning how to come to terms with the fact that her mother has moved on. Her father is no longer, like, he's passed away. He's, you know, mom is moving on. She's met someone else. You know, her life is changing, and like she doesn't like trust this man. She thinks he's like out to like hurt people because he works at this hospital asylum type place that has a bad rep. You know, it pulls information from actual historical events involving the Irish when they were moving out here and everything. So it's really good because it hits on the historical aspects, but then it also hits on, you know, teaching kids how to like how like it's normal to struggle with coming to terms that like your life is changing. So it's still very good. I definitely think more kids should read that one if they haven't, you know. And then it's got like that little bit of a spooky mystery edge, but not like a Halloween spooky edge to it, if that makes sense. Then we have The Train of Lost Things by Joan Paquette, and this one, it's super sweet. It's such a sweet, cute book, and it involves the Train of Lost Things, which is a story that this little boy's dad used to tell him all the time, and that it would go around and it would find toys and items that belong to children and they're lost, and they would just kind of like be on this train, and almost kind of like the Island of Lost Toys from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Okay, it's like that, but it's a train, and the main character, he loses a jacket that is very, very important to him, and he's like, maybe that train is real, I gotta go find that train. And it's honestly, it's a very beautiful story because it also deals with like his memories and everything like that. So absolutely gorgeous little story, but not something that I would read again. Then we have The Remarkable Inventions of Walter Mortensen by Quinn Sosna Spear. Again, another one I read earlier this year during the middle grade March Madness. And this one is, again, it has a beautiful underlying story that's within it. The title is kind of misleading because you think you're going to be getting this story about this kid who makes these inventions, and that part plays a very small part in the story, which is a slight kind of letdown, because overall the story is about the relationship between a mother and her son and the strained relationship that has sprung up between the two of them because of certain events that spiraled in their family, and how he's trying to grow up and he's trying to make these decisions, and how he wants to do these certain things that could potentially lead to him getting hurt, and mom trying to be like, no, you're not doing those things. And so you see the struggle of like the relationship and all of those kind of things. And it's very beautiful. And I think the author did a great job of like really presenting the struggles that come with being a parent and having to like make those choices of like, am I making these choices to protect my kid, or am I making these choices because I'm being selfish, those kind of things. So it is overall a beautiful, gorgeous story. Definitely love it. And I love the fact that, you know, it kind of like focused on the relationship between a mom and her kid, and like the mom also kind of like, she goes on her own little journey in it too. So I like that she showed both sides. Then we have Ember and the Ice Dragons by Heather Fawcett. So I read this one like a couple years ago, and I'll be honest, I don't really remember much about it. Like for the longest time, I thought I hadn't read it, and then I was going through my Goodreads and I was like, oh, I did read that book. I did read it. So I really honestly couldn't like tell you guys what it was about, but you know, apparently I read it at some point and I enjoyed it. But yeah. Then we have Seraphina and the Splintered Heart by Robert Beatty. So this is book 2 in the series, and with the whole not buying middle grade books anymore, I'm not going to purchase the first book, and so instead I do want to read the series because I read his Willa in the Woods series, which I did enjoy. I'm just going to get the series through the library. They've got the copies. It's a much older series, so it's not like I'm going to have any trouble getting it or anything, so I'm just going to do that and let that one go. And then we have The Ship of Stolen Words by Fran Wilde. This is a really cute one. It's about a boy who ends up in another world, you know, where the little goblins and such are stealing human words. And he is trying to get those words back. And it's just kind of fun and everything. The cover very much kind of gives like Ghibli vibes, which is fun. And honestly, the story itself does kind of give those vibes as well. So if you're kind of into that, I say give it a shot. And then the last two that I have in this unhaul, you guys are probably going to sit here and be like, why are you unhauling his books? Like, you're totally in love with his stuff right now. But that would be 2 Louis L'Amour books. And it is Ride the Dark Trail and Tucker. And the reasons are quite simple. I found a second edition of this that has a much better cover that I prefer, and I bought that one. So this one's going to go away because I don't really care for this cover. And then Ride the Dark Trail, I accidentally bought a second one. I was out recently and I thought I didn't have this one, and I had even checked my spreadsheet and I overlooked it. I already have this one with the exact same cover. So I picked, of the 2 that I had, I went ahead and just like picked the one that was in like the better condition. And yeah, so just getting rid of 2 duplicates. So that's what we have in this unhaul. I really, like I said, I was really hoping it would be bigger and there would be like more of the middle grades in here, but oh well. And you will also notice that there wasn't any more of those books from that if I don't read them in this time limit kind of thing. It's because I have started a few of them, so we're seeing how it goes. So I don't know, maybe I'll end up doing another book on haul before the year is out. We'll see. You know, that's the only thing that I can hope for, is that I will get through other stuff besides my Louis L'Amours. But you know, even if I finish out the year just reading all of my Louis L'Amours, at least I read stuff that I owned. I just don't know where I'm gonna put them. You know, so that's a problem for another day though. So that's everything in this unhaul. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If there's anything in here that you read that you also enjoyed, let me know. If there's anything that at least caught your eye and you're interested, let me know that too. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.